I don't know. Pull up. Did you put in the ending scene, by the way? I'm gonna have to DM you the file again. Yeah, they can hear me. Well, technically, Holly, I was first. You have a like dedicated hater for that? Like, is
I
it the same
do.
guy
I
always
would.
begin to dislike?
I legitimately have. There's at least one person, and obviously I have no way of knowing, but I have at least one person that just will dislike every single stream that I do.
I mean, like that's a good thing though, because like that's the bar of success. If you have a dedicated hater, you've made it.
Is that how we measure success? By how much people don't like you? Oh boy.
The Marco is super loud. The other person is really quiet.
Yeah, I'm adjusting things, and I figured, you know what? What's some night? We got some nice pre-show banter.
I can boost the audio on mine and make it really really. I'm kidding.
Blow my ears out. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Serenade me with that voice. That is good. That is good stuff. That's what people come for a podcast for. They want nice, soothing. You know what? We're not even gonna go off the going live soon screen. We're just gonna keep it here. People want to hear nice, calm voices, something to relax to. You know? And you can give that to them. I can't. I screech like a banshee.
No, I'm not. I was hearing my voice before I muted the stream, and I'm still not used to it. It's I'm fine with it, but it's like I'm still not accustomed to hearing my own voice back. It still sounds weird.
Well, up until you decide that you're gonna become the permanent co-host, then you'll get used to it.
Can you afford me? Can you afford me yet?
At the price of free 99? Hell yeah, brother!
Free 99. So that's 99 cents then. In addition to, it being free.
Okay, I'm just gonna say we actually have pretty good audio syncing right now, and the music is at a good volume too, I think. So, for just starting the stream, that's pretty good. Welcome everybody to Push Start Podcast episode 8. This is gonna be the show. I think this is a good format. Who needs face cams? You know what? Maybe Assassin has it right. No, I'm not gonna finish that sentence because then he's gonna never hear the end of it. Now I'll be switching over in just a little bit, but welcome that balloon number. Welcome Chris. Did you stream last week or no? No, I took off. I took off for some personal time, which I said I would be consistent, and there you go. Within seven weeks, already gave that up. There you go. Welcome MTG Peddler. Babe, wake up to Marco's Live. Yes, we are in King Styles. Always good to see you as well. Thank you, King Styles. You've been here like every single week, and I love that. I love you. Well, maybe not love. That's strong. No, I do. I love all of you. Anyway, let's switch over here to Bam. And let's get... There we go. There's Jonas's beautiful face is on screen for all of you to admire. So, I don't think, Jonas, you need much of an introduction, but I'm going to sell yourself for you. Is that okay?
Sure, sell me.
Okay, Jonas is the king of... So I have relaxing walk across Cyrodiil, ambient music and sounds, parenthesis, Oblivion. That's the music that's playing in the background. He just got robbed by a highwayman. So if that's not relaxing, I don't know what is. If you heard in the background a Khajiit from Oblivion's voice, which we're going to be talking about Oblivion. But Jonas is the king of OBS and Streamlabs. Well, mostly OBS. He doesn't like Streamlabs. But the king of... The king of After Effects, the king of designing stream layouts and making everything look pretty and work. He's tech support. He is a computer whiz. He is a Photoshop ninja. He is an After Effects champion and the king of all things digital. Jonas, I think your picture is gone once again. Let me pull that back up. There you go.
Yeah, that's not my fault, by the way.
No, I'm going to have
painting me out to be this tech wizard, and then my profile picture disappears.
Well, that's my fault. We all know that's my fault.
Yeah.
That's not you.
Naturally.
You're the tech wizard. If you were running the show, it would be flawless. And in fact, not only would it be flawless, you'd have much cooler things going on. I feel like you'd have some like sick transitions. You'd be switching. It would actually look like a high production thing if you were doing it. That's agreement.
Anyway,
I'll take your silence as agreement. Anyway, we all know you're not going to take compliments, but thank you for joining me this week. And I know that you're very excited to talk about the Elder Scrolls IV Remake leaks that have been happening ad nauseum. So we'll dive into that in just a bit. And I'm excited to have you here because I think out of most of us, you and I are probably the biggest Elder Scrolls fans.
Yeah, I would say so. In the sphere of the space that we exist in the gaming community space on online on YouTube and whatever, it's I think the two of us are probably the most engaged in the franchise that is the Elder Scrolls.
So this show, you're actually just going to tell me all about Elder Scrolls lore dating back to Arena, right? Or Daggerfall?
Yeah, no, we're not going to get into the lore of anything.
Tell me all about what happened. What happened to Nerevar? Tell me all about Nerevar.
He may or may not have been murdered by people he thought were his allies and friends, but that's not for us to decide. That's for
what's the most obscure Elder Scrolls fact that you know?
I don't know what's the most obscure, but
is it Michael Kirkbride related?
That would be. I don't know if that would be the most obscure because
Really?
he's very much beloved in the lore fandom. So he's like all of his stuff is like it's not really if everyone knows it.
Most people, but I don't think most people know about the extent of the weirdness that he went to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that might be true.
That's for the after show.
Yeah, that's for the after show. The lore is not important to the discussion today, really. It's more about the tech and the rumors about the rumored game. It's well, we know it's been in production because of the court documents. When Xbox were acquiring Bethesda, we know it was in the pipeline, so we know it exists. So we just don't know the details about the game, like what is true about the engine, what is true about the mechanics. All of that is still like rumors.
We'll get into that.
Apparently, like, might be confirmed by insiders, but yeah, we'll get into it.
We'll get into that later. First, I want to start off with just a couple quick things. Chris, how was the universe of Skyrim created lore-wise? That's a question for you.
Through many years of different people working on it, adding to it, and people over time trying to make it work together in a way that is coherent.
That's true.
It's 25. It's 25 years of people just making shit up and trying to make it work. Yeah.
There you go. There's your answer. That blue number called us nerds. Thank you, Holly. Yeah, he meant. I was gonna say that he meant in game, not the actual universe. But honestly, the universe is also probably you could explain the in-universe creation.
Oh, how was the universe?
You could explain it the same way. It was a bunch of people trying to make crap work. It's the same answer.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah. It was. So we can get into the Etada and the original spirits and all of that later, and lore counts. Anyways,
Okay, so
let's get into the meat and potatoes here.
Assassin says Silent Hill F looks good. Have a good time, fellas. Thank you, Assassin. Thank you for stopping by. Also, it's always a pleasure to see you. And we'll get you on. I will absolutely get you on. I just thought for this show, it was absolutely a Jonas show, and he was like, "I'm available." So I was like, "100%, we got to get you on." Can't say no. Can't say no to that Sheogorath face. To that young Scrolls face. So, before we get into the meat and potatoes, one exciting thing. Have you played Avowed at all? You haven't played Avowed. I know that you actually haven't played Avowed because you're not interested in Avowed. What does
I had it downloaded. And then I deinstalled it after not having launched it once because I was going to play it at some point, and then that point never arrived, and I was like, I don't really feel like it, and then I just uninstalled it.
Is it something you're ever gonna try, or no? You're just like, eh.
Well, never say never, but it's like, to me, a lot of the things that are appealing about these types of games just didn't seem to be there at face value, and I already have my teeth into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at the moment, and I already have like an extended break from it. I need to get back to it, so I also didn't want to distract myself with another open world game.
That's fair.
But a lot of the things I appreciate about the like this style of game didn't seem to be there in Avowed in terms of like how living the world appeared to be. It was a lot of like it came across more like a theme park ride with cardboard cutouts and not a living, breathing world. And to me, the main attraction about these types of games for me is the immersion in the world itself. And if that isn't there to begin with, it's going to cut a lot of my interest out of the game.
Yeah, I totally understand that, and so this is probably not going to excite you all that much, because the Avowed team, official developers, confirmed that they have, in the coming weeks, we'll talk more about what is going on with Avowed. So if you've been enjoying Avowed, I played it the one time on stream. I had a pretty good time with the game, even though a lot of... I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Like, I want the world to be a lot more in motion. And I will say, it was such a stark contrast, because I played Avowed on stream, and then I went over to Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and I just instantaneously was able to... I was watching the NPCs walk around, the day-night cycle. I was seeing, just things happening. And I went, oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It was such an... Especially after Starfield, which, of course, that's what Bethesda used to be known for. And then Starfield comes out and doesn't do that. And then after Avowed as well, then going into a game where they actually kind of take those they put priority to those systems, felt really, really refreshing. But... what I will say is they did announce that there's feedback. They're taking your feedback into account, that they're going to be making updates to the game. They'll have more information in the coming weeks about a roadmap for Avowed, which is pretty exciting, I think, especially because by this point, people who were playing the game have finished it. They've gotten through it. It wasn't meant to be the longest game ever, and I appreciate it for that fact as well. But a couple community requested features. One is players will now receive an additional talent point at levels 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Players with save files past those will receive the additional points as well, so it works retroactively. They're adding more in-game accessibility features, so high contrast documents, increasing the font size, and applying bold styling to all documents, tutorials, in-game pop-ups, and the Ledger's Quest tab. Accessibility is always nice. You can now toggle between... This is insane to me that this was not in the game. Players using mouse and keyboard can now toggle between walking and running. Huh.
Yeah, that's one of my main favorite features in these types of games for the reasons I mean, with mouse and keyboard you don't have the flexibility as you have with the joystick on a controller. So I really appreciate these types of games where you are constantly running around, because like I said, it comes back to my
immersion.
My
immersion.
If I'm in a situation where I would normally be, calmly walking towards someone to start up a conversation, and all I can do is sprint. It's taking me out of the experience.
Especially in all those segments where you have to match the speed of an NPC that's lazily walking somewhere, and you're just like.
Yeah, you're.
Jeremy, welcome, Jeremy. Thank you for stopping by. He says typical Obsidian game then, with the unmoving world. I'm assuming. Yeah, typical Obsidian game. Unless you count Fallout New Vegas, they did it there. So there you go.
Yeah, but they were building off of
Bethesda's
what
framework.
Bethesda had laid out for them.
And Arcane, welcome. Thank you for stopping by as well. I'm happy to see you here. Welcome. Other things, HUD. They're adding more HUD toggle abilities. So new key binding, hide all elements for cleaner screenshots. Cool. HUD opacity slider. That's a weird one to not have had as well. They're getting a third-person FOV slider, which this one I can generally understand because the game wasn't originally meant to release with third-person. So the fact that they're kind of, they made sure that the base functionality worked. And from what I understand, a lot of people actually like the third-person. So good that they got that in the game. I can accept that they're doing this one a little bit late. And then players can now lock the compass to always point north instead of rotating. Again, another little quality.
All of this sounds like stuff they would probably already have planned for the game. It doesn't sound like anything that was like, oh, well, maybe we should add this, post-release. It's more like, well, we don't really have time to finesse
get that in,
things before release, so we'll just add it in with a patch.
For what it's worth, I will say these are like the small things that you don't really. It's not like
exactly.
How many games have released? I think, for example, like Sons of the Forest or something might have been notorious for a lot of games, and I only know this because I watch Gopher ramble about it. Do not release with key bindings, where you can switch the key bindings to the ones you want. It will be locked to a certain set of like things, and you can't keybind them wherever you. And I love listening to Gopher go on key binding rants. It's absolutely hysterical if I'm ever having a bad day. But stuff like that was in the game. So when they say, hey, we'll change...
You get so geeky about it. It's fantastic.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
We both love Gopher.
If you ever have a bad day, you just find one of Gopher's rants on something. It's just... If he actually gets angry...
It's very wholesome.
It's very wholesome. Influent, welcome! Thank you for stopping by. Third person was planned from the beginning. I don't think it was. I really don't think it was. Did they say that?
That's beside the point. Let's.
It was.
Let's
okay.
Get going with.
I'll take your word for it.
Are we done with the Avowed stuff?
Yeah. There's a lot of bug fixes, quest fixes, stability improvements. There's also a whole section of spoilers that I'm not going to read. But it's large. Like, there's tons of rebalancing that they did. It's a pretty big first patch. So,
a lot of minor things.
Basically. A lot of minor things, but nonetheless things that are very welcome and appreciated. So, and that game, for what it's worth, I think that game really did come out pretty polished. So, sorry, I'm trying to pin Holly's message there. Like and sub if you're here and you like thick Italian beards. Yes, please do. Every like grows the beard a centimeter bigger. That's how that works.
A whole centimeter.
A whole centimeter. Yeah. So we need lots of them, and then we'll get to at least you get 12 likes, you get a whole new inch. That's how that works. Facial hair is incredible, especially when you're Italian. No. So one other thing too. Did you play? Space Marine 3? Or Space Marine 2? Okay.
No, I didn't. It was one of those games where I was almost convinced to buy it at full price. But also I was like, I'm not in a time where I'm feeling like playing this game, and I already have other games on my plate. So I'm going to wait for a sale. And that's what I did, and I just bought it on sale. Like a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the spring sale. The Steam spring sale started.
Was it the spring sale? I think they just had I think it was a specific sale for it, actually.
Okay, yeah, they do have right now. I think it might have been today or maybe yesterday. The Steam Spring Sale has officially started, and I want to pull that up really quick too. I know we're going a little bit off tangent, but it does. Steam, I gotta say, Steam has some really good prices on games. For example, Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't played Cyberpunk, it's $24 right now.
Everyone should play Cyberpunk.
Everyone,
So
I haven't played Cyberpunk to completion, but there you go.
I mean, neither have I, to be honest, and I have so many hours in it. I've restarted several playthroughs.
There you go.
Before finishing it, but I did finish Phantom Liberty, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I know. I gotta get on that. The Walking Dead, the Telltale Definitive Series is, which if you haven't played that, I don't know how, because that game was like it's what put Telltale on the map, really. Other than their Lego games, of course. But $5, it's down 90% from 50. It's $5. You get all 4 seasons of The Walking Dead, plus 400 days, plus Walking Dead Michonne, across 23 episodes, because they did it episodically. That's a lot of gameplay for $5 that you're getting there. Doom 2016. How much do you think Doom is listed for?
I got no idea.
Take a guess. Doom 2016.
Doom 2016. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
$30?
You think it's $30?
$20?
You think it's $20?
I don't know, man. You tell me. $2?
2.00.
Brothers and sisters think
$2.
This is a pickup. Come on.
That is an easy pickup. Easy pickup. You could also pick up Civilization.
Brothers and sisters of the congregation, come on. Go and get your Doom 2016 for $2.
Doom 2016. Oh, man. Civilization 6, if you're looking to try Civilization and you don't want to spend the money for Civilization 7, which is going to take at least 5 years before it's okay, you can pick up Civilization 6 without the DLC for $6. $6. It's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Elden Ring is $36. One more. I want to find one more good one.
Everyone should play Elden Ring as well. Well, not everyone. Not everyone.
And
those who like those types of games should play Elden Ring.
And then this one is commonly on sale. This isn't unique to the spring sale, but Mass Effect Legendary Edition is currently $6.
Maybe I should pick that up because I've never played those games, and I know you guys love them.
Wait a second. I have ad playing somewhere. I do not have YouTube Premium because I am a peasant. All right, we're back.
Use a Brave browser.
Arcane Realm says, Jonas! What did you say?
I know Arcane. There's several great game series I've never played, and that's just one of them.
Speaking of great games, Undertale is 99 cents, says Holly. And if you haven't played Undertale and you want just play Undertale.
That's another one I've never played.
It's oh my god, I am just upset because I
know
I played it.
It was hard being on the internet in general for several years without hearing about Undertale at all. So it definitely had a cultural impact, and I should probably get around to it at some point. But for now, I'm just enjoying the soundtrack whenever it comes up.
Oh, so good! Have you listened to the metal covers of that one? Phenomenal.
Of course I have.
There you go. All right.
It's hard to not come across them.
So yeah. Anyway, we were talking about Space Marine. Remember Space Marine? We brought that up. There's another little indie game called Wonder Stop that released recently. I've never heard of it, but it's by the people who made the Stanley Parable, which immediately then puts it on my radar. I watched the trailer for it today. It looks really, really cool. It's called Wonder Stop, and it's getting good reviews. I know IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. I know a lot of people don't trust IGN, but I feel like for their indie game reviews, like, you can sort of go, okay, this is good. It's very positive, or overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Let me just fact check myself there. It's $22.49. It's 10% off for early sale. 4 out of 5 Games Radar, 9 out of 10 IGN, 10 out of 10 Shack News. Very positive reviews, 91% positive out of 272 on Steam. So
speaking of indie games, Manor Lords is 30% off. Be warned, it's still in early access, but it's a really great early access game, and it's really fun to follow the development of it. So if you like medieval style city builders, go check it out.
Is it multi? Can you do multiplayer? Is there plans for multiplayer?
No. I don't think there's plans for multiplayer. Who knows? Because Greg, the guy behind the game, he is very easily like influenced by what people want in the game. Apart from, he also like he really well balances like what people are looking to do in the game with his quest of making the game as historically accurate as possible, while also making it fun as a game to play. You know, so he does a really great job at balancing all of those aspects.
Interesting.
So the next big thing is AI players. So before you had AI armies coming in from outside of the map, but I don't know if it's going to be the next update, but he has started working on the AI building cities on the map as well.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
So it almost becomes like a civilization game with another player, AI player on the map.
That's fun. That's a lot of fun. Influent asks, what is Wonderstop on PC only? No, you can buy it on Xbox. It's, I think, $25 on Xbox. And that presumably means it's probably on PlayStation 2. So you can pick it up on your platform of choice. Because who needs exclusives? They suck. Don't let Assassin hear me say that.
In short, there's a lot of great games on sale right now on Steam. Go check out the spring sale.
Time to add to that backlog. Indiana Jones is 25% off. A new PlayStation 2 release. Thank you, Cole. I said it's on PlayStation 2. Yeah, they're still releasing games for the PlayStation 2. I still have my PlayStation 2. I love that console. It is my.
I never had the PlayStation 2. I was on the original Xbox at the time. That was a great console.
PlayStation 2 was peak. That era of game. I recently watched.
I agree.
I got.
They were both great consoles, but I agree that the PlayStation 2 was the one with the greater cultural impact. Absolutely.
100%. It was what is it? I remember I just got on Twitter. I saw like that video of, kids will never know what it's like gaming in this year, and then it shows all the people waiting for like the Halo 3 midnight release. They're outside. There's a guy jamming on guitar playing outside of a GameStop, and then they're like setting up the living room. They're like, yeah, so we got 2 TVs. We got one in this room, one in this room. We're gonna do the couch co-op here. We're gonna do blah blah. It's like, oh man, gaming used to be cool.
It still is. It's just different.
It's just it used to be cooler. Better days.
I know.
Better days. Kids don't know.
Better days.
All right. Now we get into the big kahuna. The big kahuna, the big news. Trailer for Lilo and Stitch live action drop. That is a massive kahuna right there.
Massive ohana.
Massive ohana right there. No. What are you putting on screen here?
My body is a machine that turns special promotion Steam sales into 0 minutes playtime. We've all been there.
It's a little bit cut off. Can you move it over Shiogoreth? There we go. My body is a machine that turns special promotion 75% off $4.99 into 0 minutes never played. Oh, I have plenty of those. That's why I've been waiting on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. I love Avatar. I love James Cameron. I really do. And I look at it and I go, I'm not gonna play. I'm not going to play it. I'm gonna pick it up, and if I do, it'll be for 10 minutes, and I'll never. Just don't buy it. Don't buy it. And I've been able to withstand so far, but I'm excited. That game will drop. It has to drop to $15 at some point. I'll wait for then. All right. So the big news.
So first, let me answer Holly. So this Avatar is from the Young Scrolls album cover. Young Scrolls creates music from cutting and pasting NPC voice lines from the Elder Scrolls games, and sets them up to beats that he makes. So this is from the Shiogoreth album by Young Scrolls. Go check it out.
definitely listen to Young Scrolls. It's amazing. All right, so the big news here is Oblivion remake details, something that I am incredibly excited for. Very, very excited for. In addition to the release of the Elder Scrolls Skyblivion project, right? I don't want to pretend that that is not equally as exciting for different reasons, and I'm sure we're going to touch on that. What I will say, though, is the Oblivion remake detail. Have you heard any of the news about this that have come out recently?
Yeah, I've caught some of it, and the thing is, I've not sort of dived deep into it, and I haven't really, connected too much with what has been mentioned because it's still rumors. It's still he said, she said. It's still I have a man on the inside who knows what's up, and maybe I do and maybe I don't. And so I'm just gonna take it with a grain of salt. It's not too far away, so I'm just being patient and seeing what actually comes out when it comes out, to be honest. But it's interesting. The big thing is like it's going to be an Unreal Engine 5 or a sort of dual engine setup where it runs partially on Unreal Engine 5 and partially on Creation Engine.
Yeah, that's what the recent leaks. So to get into some of them, the recent leaks do reaffirm that fact that it's going to be a hybrid between the two engines. They mentioned that it's going to not have the modability that we are used to from Bethesda.
Have a good shower, Arcane.
Have a good shower. Tell me about your shower. How hot or cold do you take cold showers? Have you ever taken a cold shower? They're terrible. Terrible. But they do wake you up.
Let me know how wet it is.
How wet does your shower get? On a scale of like desert to
how wet is your water?
Water can't be wet. Before someone's like, water can be wet actually. So the recent details say that it is going to be a hybrid. They kind of further corroborate that, which we've heard in the past, but they're doubling down on that, the recent stuff that we've seen. It's going to be a hybrid, and as a result of that, supposedly, it's going to be less moddable than what Bethesda games normally are. Now, whether that's good or bad for a Bethesda game, I think it can probably... I don't think people are going to mind as much, and honestly, what my big concern about that is... and we'll get into some of the other facts as well, including potential release dates that have also leaked. But my concern with that lack of modability is that Bethesda will use that as an opportunity to really, really push creations and just milk that a lot more, which we've seen. Bethesda's gone through a lot of interest.
So for everyone who doesn't already know, like Creations TM is... what used to be referred to as paid mods that you get straight from Bethesda.
They still
I know. It's just the rebranding of it.
Yeah.
So Creations is basically mods that are created on for Bethesda by modders who get paid for doing so, and then people pay for the mods, and they are usually available on consoles, which is a big draw for them. And yeah, I think you're right about that. Like, your water is very dry, relatable.
Chris, thank you for the $50. Just to let us know that your water's dry.
My advice is to break up the ice and heat it and then use it. So. I think you might be right that it could be a way to reinforce the Creations model, which that will probably hurt the overall modding scene if that is the way future Bethesda games go. But then, we already have a huge part of the fan base who are dedicated players and modders of the older games, so it will only hurt their future audience capture rather than you know, chasing old fans over to buying mods for the new games.
Yeah. What I can say about the Creation Club is that Bethesda, I think they've done a pretty good job of at least taking in feedback. For example, now the modders set their own prices, so when they do create something, they could say, hey, this is going to be $20. They could say this is $5, and I think that does create a very healthy ecosystem versus before, where I actually had a video in the past where I went a little bit nuts. I analyzed the price of the Legendary Edition to upgrade to the Legendary Edition when that became an option, which of course came with all of the released Creation Club content. And I said, okay, so they're charging you like $20 or $30, whatever the upgrade was.
What's
and
the
yet,
value?
if you add up each of the individual creations on their own, the upgrade was like $20. The creations were like $300 and something, like $500 or something absolutely astronomical. Right. And I was looking at that going, okay, so you're telling me that Bethesda values all of this stuff at $20, but they've been selling it to you and completely ripping you off this whole time for those people who've been buying at full price. And I just went, for shame, Bethesda, for shame. I was embarrassed for them. Not actually, I was disappointed. But now they let creators set their own prices, which is good. And you do get some really good ones. Like King Gath Creations is the one that stands out. If you don't know, he made, for Skyrim, he did the Bard's College, which was a massive overhaul for the Bard's College. Where he also did something that it's hard to see because he's done this for free in the past. Like Fallout 4 had a free version of this. But he basically made a system in Skyrim where you can kind of set down these magical treasure beacons where you'll find a container in the world. You put all of your stuff in it. It's called the East Empire Company. You put all of your stuff in it, and then you put one of these beacons in it. And that will basically send a trader to go out, find it, pick it up, and then bring it and sell it for you. So it was just a very creative in-game way to manage all of your loot and do it. And it was super. And then there was a whole quest line tied to it too, where you're trying to grow the East Empire Company and get them a bigger presence.
Lord-based.
Yeah.
Lord-based inventory management.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to go to the Jarls, and you're trying to tell the Jarls like, hey, can we put the East Empire Company in your city? And they say, yeah, and you got to do like a quest. And it was this really well thought out thing. He did do it for free in the past, but you look at the quality of something like that, and then I think it was maybe like $5 or $10, and you look at the quality,
and it's like,
and you go,
as long as most of the money goes to the people making it, I'm perfectly happy with it. Yeah,
I think it does. So I think Bethesda's very generous with the way they pay their creators. No worries, Chris, but seriously, thank you so much. Like, thank you so much for that. It really awesome. So the creation, I think letting them price it on their own was ultimately a good move, and that's a good compromise. But I am worried that sort of this hybrid engine, two things I'm worried about. One is if this hybrid engine is sort of going to just enable Bethesda to really push the creations and sort of see like, oh, you can't mod the game. Sorry, everybody. You got to buy creations now, because we know they're taking a cut of that pot.
I don't think so, because... I think they do understand like the value and the importance of the modding community and how it is built up. It's existed for so long, and we still have the old guard at the helm of the studio, and they understand it. So I don't think that's going to be a major concern in reality.
Right. The second concern is, how is this going to reflect on the Elder Scrolls 6? Because assuming that's true, right? That Bethesda's turning around and saying it's not going to be highly moddable because we're kind of jury-rigging these two engines to work together. So it's making the creation kit, that is normally what people use, very, very complicated. And we can't really release it to the public for XYZ reasons. I would get it. All technical jargon that would personally go above my head. But if they said it's just not working to release to the public, sure, fine, I get it. I am concerned with how that might reflect on the Elder Scrolls 6, because to our understanding, the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be using a modified version of the Creation Engine 2, which, if this Oblivion remake is going to come out and blow what users, and let's face it, most users are going to look at the visuals, right? They're going to look at the visuals, they're going to say Unreal Engine looks goddamn amazing, which it does, and they're going to say Elder Scrolls 6 needs to look like this or better. and then it comes around and it looks like the creation engine.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very concerned about that. Or if this is a trial, is Bethesda using this as a testing grounds to say, how can we work out all the kinks of this hybrid engine so that way
I think they're
works?
definitely using it as a trial.
For Elder Scrolls 6?
For any future game. I think they're looking at it and checking if, like, how viable is the technology we're using here, or the merging of technologies for our future titles. I mean, that's like any healthy creative technical company would look at everything with that lens, like how can this be helpful for future development as well.
So every future Bethesda game is going to be Unreal X creation?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It depends on how this one turns out. Is what I would say. They might lean more into it. They might lean less into it. They might not lean into it at all with the Elder Scrolls 6. It might be too late for their development stage to start leaning more into merging other engines into it. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they definitely will be, evaluating how useful it can be to them.
Yeah, I listen. It is interesting because, of course, the one benefit that Bethesda has now that they are backed by Microsoft, I don't think this would have ever happened without Microsoft, and that we're gonna see if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But of course, now Bethesda is going to need to pay in part all of those licensing fees for using Unreal Engine to make this game work. So, really curious how that plays into sort of the expectations of Bethesda games in regards to especially profitability when they are releasing on Game Pass. I don't know if it's a huge concern because of Xbox's multi-platform strategy. So you can argue that yes, they know that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to release on PlayStation. They know that Starfield's going to release on PlayStation. So any of that could be almost like looking at, say, okay, we'll be able to cover the difference that we need to pay in licensing fees by releasing these multi-plat, let alone the profitability on Game Pass if it brings in new users and all that other stuff. But as long as Jeremy says, as long as the horse armor isn't messed up, I'll be happy. You know what I want?
Do you think the horse armor is going to?
Oh my god, 100%. Yeah, they're gonna.
Or do you think they will sell it?
I know
as separate DLC?
I know exactly how they're going to. They're going to show the trailer and then they're going to end it. Like Todd Howard's going to be on stage announcing this game.
You get the horse armor.
And you can get the horse armor. Yeah, I don't know why I went like. You can get the horse armor. I don't know what that is, but that's not how Todd Howard speaks.
Was it like almost Australian or something?
I don't know what that one was, but you could get the It's going to be, you know what? It's going to be part of the collector's edition. It's going to come with like real. You can get. There's going to be one version.
Model of the horse with the horse armor.
One version of the game. They're going to sell one version of it where if you own a horse, they will make custom armor for that horse in real life that you could put on it. That's going to be the collector's edition. The super deluxe ultra collector's edition.
Arcane is back. How was your shower?
Was it wet? If it was wet, you need to help Chris because Chris's water is very dry. Very dry.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I absolutely think that's how they're going to reveal it. I would like to see, honestly, if they do a collector's edition, you know what I would want in a collector's edition? I would buy one in a heartbeat. I love Oblivion is my favorite game like ever. But I would want to see the sort of Oblivion Knight, you know, the guy on the cover, the Imperial Guard. I would want to see him riding a statue in the collector's edition of him riding the horse with the horse armor on. Like in a cool dramatic pose with the Oblivion gate in the background.
That sounds kind of sick, yeah.
Yeah, Bethesda! Come on, I gave you the idea. Send me a version. No, but sounds super cool. It's definitely going to have all the DLC in it. I would be amazed if it did not release with Shivering Isles, Knights of the Nine, the horse armor. So I think all that's going to be in there. I think they'll lean into the horse armor. In fact, I would like to imagine that they're actually going to have more horse armors in it just to play into it, even though people go back and forth where they kind of complain and say, oh, Bethesda introduced DLC and blah, blah, blah with microtransactions. But they'll lean into it. Todd Howard is very good at kind of poking fun at himself, and I think he does it tastefully most of the time.
For sure.
The other big sort of news for this, I wanted to end on the most dramatic aspect of it. So, if you're excited for the announcement, then shut your ear, close your ears, rip them off.
Who's laughing now?
Stop laughing. There you go. Close your ear, rip them, throw them away, put them in the trash, in the recycle bin, and then go grab them later. The release details for Oblivion Remake, coming from Nate the Hate, he suspects that, or he said that it is going to be announced in April, and is going to be announced and fully revealed in April, and then also dropped in April as well, with a potential shadow drop. The goal that they're going for is the most minimal release window possible, which is ever, which would be a shadow drop. He said that it's going to all be coming next month. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. I'm gonna get my feelings, then I want to hear your thoughts on it. I have mixed feelings because I'm incredibly excited to see exactly what this is. And if they did a shadow drop, or if they did, hey, here's the game, it's releasing in 2 weeks, have fun. That is absolutely insane to me, because up until this point it really has been like, yeah, it's probably happening, but it's still been rumors. So the fact that it has stayed this lock and key for this long, I think, is incredible.
They've been keeping this under wraps, really good.
Wraps, much better than Battlefield is. So the disappointing thing is that would have been an absolutely legendary announcement. And then absolutely. And then Nate the Hate comes in and spoils that reveal for these developers. And I am slightly angered. I am perturbed. I am mad. I am disappointed. Because this is the thing that, like, developers have said it. They've come out so many times in the past and they've said, this is the thing we've been building towards. We've been working our butts off to try to keep the secret, to try to make it a surprise, to prepare the reveal, to make it exciting, to make it dramatic, so that when people see the date come out on screen, it's a really big deal. And then someone decides to come out and completely rip that moment away from everybody. The dozens, the hundreds, I'm not going to say thousands, but the hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of developers that are working on these projects just ripped it out from under them. And I don't mean to be sitting here like we're getting this exciting game. It's super fun. I love Oblivion. It's my favorite game of all time. And I'm sitting here curmudgeon-y going, should let the developers release it. But at the same time, go F yourself. Like, I feel very passionately about this. Like,
I get it.
Go F yourself that you think that you're going to, for your spotlight, you're going to rip it's one thing to say, hey, there's rumored details about the game, like, we think that it might be this. But when you rip away the announcement from under their feet, and especially the release date, I kind of just, like, you know, a little bit. It hurts to see to me. I don't know if you have a different take on that. Maybe you don't care, because I think the vast majority of people don't care. They can still see this. Like, I saw Maddie react on Twitter to this, and he was just blown away. When the announcement comes around, he'll still be just as excited. I will still be just as excited. Right. Don't get me wrong. When I do actually see it on screen, I'm going to lose my collective mind. But at the same token, it infuriates me. It does get me really, really angry. So I'm going to be the curmudgeon-y man yelling at clouds. I don't know if you feel indifferently about it that I do. Maybe you can inspire me to be excited and to look the other way, but
probably not. But I do get the way you feel about it, and I agree to a certain extent.
Angry.
Yeah.
Hulk smash. I was watching the before the show, I've never seen the is it Lou Ferrigno that plays him originally? Before it was taken over by the MCU, whatever that Hulk movie was. But anyway, Hulk mad.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, personally, I don't feel any which way about it, to be honest. I do understand your perspective, and I do agree that it sucks for the developers probably. But for the general public, it's like those invested enough to pick up on the news about the rumored dates for the reveal. That crowd, which is us, we already knew about the game being in development regardless, and knew that sometime this year, probably soon, it would be announced. So it's more like they narrowed down the expected window a little more to what we already expected. So it's like, sure, it sucks if they got it right for the developers in terms of like getting the surprise, but still, it's like, well, yeah, we kind of expected it. Now just like a little bit more confirmed, maybe. So personally, I'm not like I feel for the developers, but I think it doesn't change too much in the bigger picture.
Yeah, King Style says it sucks when somebody steals someone else's spotlight. It does. Like, it's a lot of hard work, and it's that I agree with. What I don't think people fully understand is it's 4 to 6 months sometimes, or sometimes longer, of planning this announcement. And you have a whole team of people that are planning, just like, working on the game, and they're excited to get the announcement of it that it deserves. But people who are just working on the announcement itself for months and months and months, like 4 to 6 months, to make sure that it goes off right, and then something like this. So, Lancelot says, I was going to say, maybe you should have someone stream with you. Jonas is not a permanent co-host until he wants to be. But yes, especially for this topic, it's good to have him here. And it is nice to be able to do it more like a discussion than talking to myself from time to time. So there you go. And I'm not opposed to having on a co-host, permanent second person here. And Arcane says, it's kind of why I've never been a fan of leak culture. I was still surprised when Blade got revealed, but I did have the surprise tarnished a bit because I was told that was coming. Yeah, is it wrong that I sort of hope when leakers leak things that they get it wrong?
Oh, absolutely not.
Like, I actively I hope this isn't correct.
I totally, like, while I still think it's like not a huge deal because we already knew about the the window somewhat for this specific situation, that is. But in general, I do agree that leak culture, if we can call it that, is terrible. It's just it's annoying for getting people excited at the correct time, and it can ruin the marketing and the hype for a game if it's not handled correctly.
100%. And you know what too, I will say, do these leaks even, like, these types of things where it's like the game's gonna release on this date, there's a really big difference between seeing the speculated features. We're getting that with Elder Scrolls 6 now. People are leaking that it's going to have a ship combat, that it's going to be a city building, and you're going to roll over a city.
But that's not
exciting.
That's not leaks. That's speculation, and that's totally different.
They try to pose them as leaks. Don't give them.
Of course they do, because they want to sound as legitimate as possible in order to get more clicks. Don't fall for it, people. We don't know anything, and those who prepare that they do are just basing it off of other people speculating and making wishes for themselves, and do not actually have any info on the inside.
But that stuff, even those types of, when they try to claim them as leaks, like those, like, actually do find a bit exciting because it is so hypothetical. When it's more concrete,
they're not leaks. Then they are It's what we used to do back when you were covering Starfield before they started properly announcing stuff,
Yeah.
it was all speculation and what if and what it could be and all of that stuff. And I agree that's a lot more
That's
enjoyable.
fun. I love that. I love diving into the what ifs of it. Anyway, so are you surprised? I guess one of my last things. Are you surprised by how soon it is, or is this about what you expected based on what we knew? I am surprised. I thought it would be 2026.
For the Oblivion remake?
I thought it would be like a Summer Games Fest announcement and then a 2026 release.
Oh wow. No, I was prepared for it coming this year. I didn't.
This year?
I wasn't prepared for it coming. The
In a
spring. Yeah, I was expecting, like, if anything, I was expecting like maybe a showing in the summer during the Summer Game Fest or something, and then a release like very soon after that, like late summer, beginning of autumn.
Do you think it has the legs to be? Because obviously, like, summer game releases are like getting towards the winter, right? The holiday season. That's usually the big time of year. Do you think the Oblivion remake has the legs? I mean, it carries the Elder Scrolls name, but like, do you think Oblivion remake has the same oomph?
People, I think it has for our generation. I think it has for the fan base that is already captured.
That it can
like
compete with the winter, like that holiday
because
season.
it's a game that has already come out in 2006 and everyone loved it. Like, and people just, I wish I could play Oblivion again, but it's modern. Like, people who loved it in 2006 will eat that up. What I'm curious about is what will it be able to do for people who are half our age, or people who didn't grow up playing these games, people who have never played an Elder Scrolls game, because it's been so effing long since we had an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah. 2011.
Right, like, it's sad to think about, but we're getting old, and there's a lot of people who are a lot older than they should be who did not play even Skyrim Special Edition.
I don't want to think about that. Jeremy, we're gonna move on.
What I am interested in seeing is, like, how will they be able to get the generation growing up with Fortnite to be interested in checking out this Oblivion remake.
And then there's the interesting thing too is, I believe that, someone correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm actually going to really quickly do a search for this. Rumored next gen Xbox release year. There have been rumors about the next gen release year, several pointing to 2026. Leaked Microsoft documents from the FTC in 2023 said a 2028 release for the next Xbox. And then Windows Central in March, so this month, Windows Central said that it was going to be 2027. So 2026 to 2028. Let's assume that let's assume that it's going to be 2027 for the next gen Xbox and the next gen consoles. I suspect that actually puts it in a really great position, where Oblivion remake this year, and then 2 more years until we see Elder Scrolls 6, which is very likely going to be a launch title for the next gen system. And then what's interesting about that too is it gives plenty of time for Bethesda to do, because if this game is successful, it's coming. You know what I'm about to say. Fallout 3 Remastered is going to be the next one, and that would take place another 2 years, and then 4 years from now we get Fallout, or 4 years, 2 years after that, the Fallout 3 remaster, then you get the Fallout 5 release. And so now Bethesda, this cadence that they've been striving to achieve, is finally possible. And that gets me very excited.
I think it's a good sign for the pacing of releases for the studio, because these remakes, like, for the people listening, this is not worked on by Bethesda proper. This is a third-party studio coming in to help them make it. So Bethesda can, with this, focus on their next mainline game,
Yes.
Elder Scrolls VI, and what comes after that, while someone else has their hand in the big beloved IP that gets way too many years between releases these times. And I think, like, people have been screaming for years, like, just hand, at this point, it's been so long, just hand the IP over to someone, like, make some more spin-offs, we miss the IP. And I think you're right, like, with this, they will be able to get a better cadence and better release schedule for games with these IPs.
It feels like I like talking about this because it feels back like I'm doing YouTube in 2020 again. I'm serious. I'm serious. Yeah, no, I'm serious because my brain's just running on all cylinders now. Where I'm thinking like, okay, so they have the two popular, like Morrowind might be hard to do because of its age, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try to tackle it, especially with this external help. But let's just assume that, all right, they're going to do Oblivion, they're going to do Fallout 3. Maybe Fallout New Vegas, but eventually they're going to run out of games to remaster, right? So what comes next is Virtuos is a studio that's rumored to be working on that. We know Obsidian everyone wants to give stuff to Obsidian. We know they have their hands full, and they, quite frankly, probably don't even want to work on, as much as they love it, I'm sure that would be cool. They want to work on their own stuff, right? So another Skyrim remaster says, honestly, eventually that comes after. Yeah, by the time we get all of these games, it will be time for a Skyrim remaster.
Listen, I think Kyle Rebel deserves some rest when Oblivion is done. But you know that someone is going to be nostalgic about Skyrim and be like, man, imagine Skyrim, but on the Elder Scrolls 6 engine. And then the process starts all over again.
100%. But where I was going with that is, do you think, like, then the next question becomes, okay, Virtuos, if they're working on all these remasters, they've been working with Bethesda games for a while, and they've been working on this hybrid engine. Let them make their own game.
Yeah.
Because they could do what Obsidian did.
After they have had crack at Morrowind.
Assuming they attempt Morrowind.
Yes, that's what I'm saying though. That's my wish. If the Oblivion remake is good, and it functions well, and it's everything that people want it to be, I love Morrowind. It is a game that is very well functioning for the way its time and the way it was built. It's not very easy for a modern audience to get into, which I get, and it has its charm and its function in playing the way it does in its original design. But the world and the story and the lore, I would love to just experience that in a more modern experience as well.
Oh, 100. Especially because the thing that I miss about Bethesda games, and
it might be the best Elder Scrolls game in terms of those aspects.
Yeah, the thing that annoys me about modern Bethesda games, and it started with Oblivion, is just like to see what Morrowind is supposed to look like, that alien world with the giant mushroom houses and all that cool stuff that you kind of want to see in a fantasy game. They haven't done, and they had an opportunity to do that with Starfield.
You're saying they're going into generic fantasy TM with with the later games, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cyrodiil, it makes sense, right? You want to do Cyrodiil, fine. Skyrim...
Did you know that Cyrodiil was supposed to be a jungle? In the lore, originally, it was described as a jungle.
Isn't there, like, a lore reason why it's no longer a jungle?
Oh, yeah, they retconned it with the lore to make it what it is in the game.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
But people have been complaining for years about, like, oh, they didn't handle Oblivion like that. But, you know.
No.
Anyways.
And I even think about, like, there's so many cool mods out there that make the forests actually look like... Or I think, actually, it might be a bit of a weird comparison, but I think to like Dragon Age Inquisition, when you're walking through some of those forests, and you can do a normal pine forest, but the tree's just massive in scale, and the trunks are huge and overgrown, and like just cool fungus coming out of it. You could do stuff like that, and Bethesda's like, we got pine trees, and we got fir trees, and we got 5 other types of trees that you could find in people's backyards if you go to the right place. It's like, can we not do that? So to see, you know, I want to see what they do. Like, and now with Hammerfell, if we're going to Hammerfell for Elder Scrolls 6, you're going to get a desert. It's like, okay, what can you do alien-like and real cool fantasy with a desert? Like, come on. So,
well, it doesn't need to be alien-like though. Like I don't need things to be very alien in Skyrim, for instance, because it's supposed to be this, like, speaking as a Nordic person.
Yeah.
It's very much like drawn inspiration from the nature we have here in Scandinavia and Norway in particular, and like I appreciated that, like, showing through in the game, and like the callbacks to Nordic, like even the story in Skyrim. A lot of people like give the story flag because it's just a power fantasy and it's kind of boring, but it's like. When it first came out, I was like, well, it's basically a callback to like Viking or Nordic folklore, because it's like it's Thor against the Midgard serpent, basically. It is what the story is.
Yeah. Everyone who didn't like Skyrim's story is just ignorant and stupid.
Yeah, that's a way about it. That's what I'm saying.
Because you didn't understand Norse mythology. It's your fault that you didn't.
But like basically, like they are leaning into like the region in its own way. Like everything doesn't have to be alien, because if everything is alien, then nothing is.
Yeah.
Because you need the contrast. But there's lots of cool things they could do with a desert, and Hammerfell is not only desert.
No. There's a lot more.
You have Dwemer, like you have a whole different clan of Dwemer who used to live there.
Thick jungles on the coasts. I think do the Dragontail Mountains, is that just High Rock or is that Hammerfell too?
My geography is bad even in video games.
You know, the fact that I know the name is good enough. So there you go.
I believe the Dragontail Mountains
are
to High Rock, yeah. But what I was going to say is that you can do some really cool mechanics with deserts, because, like, imagine if they do something where, like, depending on the season or the wind or whatever, like, different times of the year or different times of day, the sands shift and reveal ruins that you couldn't see crossing the same landscape. Like,
save it for the Elder Scrolls
day
Wishlist
before.
series. Just save that for the Elder Scrolls Wishlist series.
I know, but like you can see like the potential in it's just
very
sand,
cool.
but you know,
and that borrows actually ideas from Deathloop, which would be a clever way to incorporate. Well, Deathloop, because you pick the time of day you want to go to certain districts, and then depending on what time of day, there's like different objects in different places. That narratively makes sense. It's like they're preparing for a party, so there's like a construction vehicle outside, but then you go back there and the party started, so the construction vehicle's gone, but you could use that to get around the environment. So thinking about the shifting sands brings me back, which a Bethesda team did in the past, and we know that they corroborate with one another. You know, they take inspiration from each other 100%. So
absolutely.
That would be a very cool mechanic.
And if they are doing the Iliac Bay, you could do the same with the shifting tides, you know?
Yeah, things. High tide. I don't know if they get that far, but apparently there's supposed to, according to the leaks, there's supposed to be an emphasis on underwater stuff. So who knows? Maybe underwater temples and ruins, and the tides change that.
More slaughterfish.
More slaughterfish. You can't have enough slaughterfish. I like that this just turns into an Elder Scrolls 6 speculation. But the last thing I wanted to end on, was basically just supporting. If you do play games on PC, Deathloop mentioned. There you go. See, we woke Arcane up. If you do play on PC, consider also supporting Skyblivion. Obviously, Kyle Rebel. They've been working for years and years and years and years and years to remaster Oblivion. in the Skyrim engine. And if you've ever watched the development diaries, it looks absolutely incredible. And this is a project I've shouted out before, but it's by fans for fans, and it has just complete and utter heart and soul. And in some ways, I honestly think that Sky Oblivion is going to be better than whatever this Oblivion remake is going to be in a couple ways.
It's hard to say because we have seen nothing from
the remake,
from the official Oblivion remake. Which congrats to them for keeping it on the wraps, like we said. But until we see something, it's hard to tell like what is going to be the strengths of that version of the remake. I think the strengths of the remake will be
superior gameplay,
mostly gameplay mechanics.
And mechanics,
because that is something that the Sky Oblivion team, unfortunately, that too. But like the gameplay and the visuals are things that most of the gameplay, that's stuff that the Sky Oblivion team are sort of held back on what they're able to do because they are working with
Skyrim.
The special edition version of the creation engine. But it is cool to see what they are doing because they are not just doing it's the Sky Oblivion map and quest and whatever. Items in the Skyrim special edition engine. They are implementing elements from the Oblivion game into that engine with like they're rebuilding and reimagining old systems from Oblivion to Skyrim's engine. Like I believe they're doing spellcrafting and
I think so, yeah.
And different mechanics as well. And have you seen the redesign of the menus and everything?
They're gorgeous. They're really nice. They did a phenomenal job. I remember watching the footage of like the class system and picking your class and everything.
The class systems too. It
looked really, really cool the way they did it. Especially given the limitations that they're working within, like you mentioned.
It's amazing.
It's very impressive.
So we know that the Sky Oblivion is going to be such a labor of love from fans to fans.
I think
for anyone who hasn't seen anything, like there's so much like they have covered the development so well throughout the process as well. Go to Kyle Rebel Size, go to his channel, both on Twitch and YouTube. Heavy Burns has done some great edits as well. Some great videos for behind the scenes there. Go check it out. Go look at what they've done. Like all of the dungeons that were very uniform in the original game, like every one of them have been redesigned bottom up with modders making their own interpretations of what this location should look like, doing environmental storytelling and all of that.
And I think that's where the game, the Sky. I think that Sky Oblivion is going to be a game for like Elder Scrolls fans, because they completely upchanged the cities. Like things in the final design didn't follow. It was really cool. I like seeing when they're doing their developer diaries, which I just linked the channel to Rebel's Eyes if you want to check some of this stuff out. But they show like. This was the original design that was in the concept art for like the city of Leyawiin, and how the final didn't match that in any capacity. And they said, no, we stuck to that original design. Like this fort has this lore behind it that you could just find in a book that's hidden on the other side of the map. So we took this fort and then we actually designed both the fort itself and the landscape around it to make sense based on the concept of the lore that surrounds a battle that took place here. Like the amount of detail that's going into it. If you're an Elder Scrolls junkie, I think that Sky Oblivion is going to blow this remake out of the water. But what I will say is, I think just gameplay wise, because you're gonna have Skyrim's combat with Sky Oblivion, you're gonna have their visuals with Sky Oblivion. So visually and like you had already mentioned, game mechanics, the remake is going to, beat it out there. Which a lot of people go for that. A lot of people prefer that.
That said, it is going to be on the same engine that we have been modding for years. So the issues that might arise with the double engine thing they're doing with the official remake is not going to hinder you modding the heck out of
Skyblivion is waiting to be modded.
You just install Skyblivion as it is released when it is done, and you can mod it just the same as you have been modding Skyrim. You can redo the combat however you want it with different combat mods. You can overhaul the visuals with your ENB and whatever visual overhauls you tend to use. You can all of the modability you might not be able to do with the official remake, you will be able to do with Skyblivion. So that will be the strength of Skyblivion, regardless, if we are to compare the two. But even so, I think most hardcore fans like us will be playing both of them.
Yes.
And I believe the hardcore crowd will mostly lean into Skyblivion, and the more general audience will be playing the official remake, especially those playing on console.
100%. Oh, it's worth mentioning too. You could play the obviously it's only going to be on PC, but you could play Skyblivion if all you need to own is a copy of Skyrim Special Edition and Oblivion, and you could play it for free. They're releasing that for free, and the Oblivion remake probably going to be what, $60-$70? I'm guessing going to 70.
Yeah.
$70.
If you already own 2006's version of Oblivion and you own Skyrim Special Edition, of course they're a fan project. They can't take money for the IP anyways, but that said, you're gonna get it for free basically,
so, there you go.
or for the price of Skyrim and Oblivion.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, yeah, Assassin, we actually already did talk about that, targeting April, possible shadow drop. We did talk about that, so catch up, watch the show. If you watched the show, you would know that. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for hanging out here tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's always a pleasure. Arcane, Chris, Cole, Assassin, Jeremy. Jeremy, it's great to see you here. Lancelot, always a pleasure. You stop by like every week, at least for a little bit. King Styles as well. And of course, Influent and Chris
Grey
Harris.
Monad.
Cole, Chris Harris, Grey Monad. Chris, thank you so much for the support and the super chat. That always very generous, and I cannot say thank you enough for that.
Peddler.
MTG Peddler and Holly, that blue number. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. This is probably my favorite show that I've done so far, honestly, because I'm talking about something that I just absolutely.
We could go on for.
I could keep going. I could keep going, but for the sake of.
I think you muted yourself.
I lost my. I don't know. For this, I don't know why I'm stopping. Why am I stopping? For the sake of you, I'm gonna use you as the excuse. You need to go to bed, Jonas. It's really late there. This is your fault that we're ending the stream, not mine. It's not my choice. So there you go.
You know, I go to sleep at.
No, you go to sleep right now. So we gotta end. No, I'm just throwing you under the bus. No, it's time to end the show here. But thank you all so much for hanging out tonight. It's always a pleasure. I still don't have the ending soon or the ending stream screen, so we're gonna go over to
wait.
Oh.
Give me one actual minute. Just give me one actual minute, okay?
So now forfeit. Then pay with your blood.
And pray with your blood.
That was actually that was an animation that Jonas. I just had the video, and then Jonas put that edit together. What did I miss? What came through that notification popped up?
You can go back and check.
I know. I have to see. I can't. Hold on.
Where did I place this? It's going to be here somewhere.
What is it? It's Chris. Chris again! Thank you! Seriously! Oh my god. Holy hell. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Thank you so much. Seriously, Chris, thank you. Blessings of Akatosh be upon ye. Blessings of the 9! We're going to Oblivion. Blessings of the 9 divines upon all of you tonight. I don't know what Jonas is doing, so I'm gonna stall for a bit here. But
stall for a little bit.
Okay, I'm stall. If you're sending me an ending soon screen,
I'm not gonna send you anything. I promise.
Okay. What am I waiting for?
You'll
Anyway,
see, you'll see.
I want to know, for those of you who are still here, because we said we were ending and now I'm not ending, I want to know, we have if you could only pick one, we have Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out. We have, I'm going to throw Starfield DLC in there as well. You have some Starfield DLC that'll be coming this year. You have Grand Theft Auto 6 that's possibly coming this year. I think maybe Borderlands 3 is coming this year. Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remake is coming this year. There
you go.
What is the one... Very clever. Is Judas coming this year, Holly? Is Judas coming this year? Damn. I'm excited for that one too. What's everybody's most anticipated game? Let me know as we round out the show here. But thank you all so much one last time, and I hope to see you all next time. I did that out of order. So long, everybody. We're going to the BRB. We're going to the BRB screen.
No, you can full screen my.
Nope. Nope. I'm not full screen. All right, we could full screen. No, I'm not. I'm not breaking the trend. I'm not doing it. AC Shadows is a good choice. Yeah, I forgot AC Shadows is here too. Not looking forward to the disappointment GTA 6 is going to... Do you think GTA 6 is going to be disappointing? Do you play GTA, Jonas?
Yeah.
Hey, you don't strike me as a GTA person.
I'm not a huge GTA person, but it's always been there, and I've always dabbled in it. Okay. I did play through the entirety of the 5th, like the last game, and played quite a bit of the online mode as well. But it's always been one of those franchises where my cousin had it, and we played it when I hanged out at his place.
Did you see have you ever seen any of the roleplay servers, like the GTA 5 roleplay?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Have you ever watched? If you need a good laugh, have you ever seen Markiplier do Stan the Waterman?
No, I haven't.
I don't think I have in recent history laughed harder over like a Let's Play series than I laughed while watching Stan the Waterman by Markiplier. If you need a GTA 6 roleplay, Stan the Waterman, it is absolutely just a blast.
All right. Well, that's a good shout out there for a good laugh. People, go check that out.